for Mark Roebuck and Dan Curry!
I need to start eating healthier. I need to start it. The other day, one day, last week, I had McDonald's, Taco Bell, and Wendy's for lunch.
Like, I was young, I thought the future was gonna be like the Jetsons. Then it turned out to be like RoboCop.
I don't believe in ghosts because if keeping your own mother in the trunk of your now ex-boyfriend's car for upwards of a year doesn't warrant like poltergeist or other spooky shit happening to you, then nothing does. Ghosts aren't real.
Like, ooh girl, I would wreck you by explaining what the Thundercats are. Not be the same after that.
Experiencing the reality of what is dementia when I was walking down the street in Grand Rapids and I saw an old lady run by and go, "They can't get all of us!" She was by herself, and I was high and I was like, "Who's all of us?"
CATA. Those of you who don't know, it stands for Capital Area Transportation Authority. I say bullshit. I say it should really stand for cleanliness. Ain't the answer.
But if I ever hook up with a dude and he like gives me a hard time for having pubic hair, I'm just gonna tell him that I'm growing it out to donate to Locks of Love.
Y'all look tired. Y'all okay? I know it's hot and all that, but imagine having to work in this heat like a couple hundred years ago. Y'all all right?
My name is Mark Roebuck, and I am one of the co-hosts along with Dan Curry at Max Monday Comedy Night.
We had replaced Dan. We're like, oh, we'd find some other weirdo with a bad haircut. We could fucking...
Mark and I improv every opening here, and sometimes that turns into a whole joke for one of us.
So, do you guys want to hear a character I made up named Sad Mr. Freeze? You guys want to hear Sad Mr. Freeze?
Right.
Yeah, okay. So I need Dan, I need you to be Batman for this.
Yeah. Hey, Mr. Freeze. What's happening?
Oh, not much. My wife left me. It's not very cool. I guess it's true what they say. Ice guys finished last.
Oh man. What makes me laugh is
absurdity, like absurd things.
I like really clever absurdity.
You know, you taking somebody down a road in a story or whatever, and then out of nowhere something just...
And I like roller derby because it's the only time I'm ever allowed to yell in public, "Hit that bitch!"
But yeah, almost anything makes me laugh as long as it's just ridiculous enough and people are comfortable enough saying it.
If you ever need an all-natural laxative, check out your student loan statements.
That's hard. When it's unexpected, that's gotta be it. When something's unexpected.
That's my time, guys. My name's Brandon Bonebreak. Give it up for Jason Carlin. You guys have been great.
One more time for Tiny Tim, everybody. Hey, Brandon.
Yeah.
Brandon, did you get your Sling at Baby Gap?
I have health insurance, motherfucker!
Is it baby health insurance?
To me, I like structure in stand-up, but I like it to be hidden. Like, I like the idea of, like, a lot of people come to shows and be like, oh, how do you think of this stuff off the cuff? And you're like, that's not off the cuff.
I noticed this, if you go to like Quality Dairy or any other convenience store and there are two people in there working and one of them's 20 and the other one's like 50 and the 20-year-old is in charge, it's probably because the 50-year-old touched kids. That's probably why not in charge of things. That's the only thing you can do in Quality Dairy or a convenience store and not be in charge. Like, they'll let you steal money and they give you a second chance. Like, no kid did it. That's where they draw the line at. Here's the thing. I think there's this theory. It's called benign violation theory in comedy. It's kind of a take on the old school comedy formula of comedy equals tragedy plus time. So what benign violation theory says, and I'm just, just bare bones here, is for somebody to laugh at something, it has to be a violation of social mores, and it has to be benign in the sense that it's not an aggressive violation of social mores.
Just because somebody swears a lot on stage, says a lot of misogynistic things, racist things, just because somebody says those things on stage at a comedy show doesn't make it funny.
So obviously we know that molestation and all that type of stuff that's a no-no. It's a violation of everything that we're supposed to stand for. But if you tell a joke in a way where I didn't see him do that, that's my assumption of him. He looks like the type of guy that would do that, then it's benign enough. I've dialed the violation down enough as to where people can kind of laugh at it.
So it's kind of knowing, like taking my really radical perspectives and then like thinking about like how to appeal to the majority of the audience and say like, they're gonna identify or agree with like these points, so I have to kind of change my tone a little bit and then elevate it with the punchline to make it work.
I mean, you're always going to offend people, or not always, but there is always the shock value too.
Being the child of a meth addict is awesome. You never get grounded. They're always in more trouble than you.
That's why you gotta work it out. How far can I take it?
Jason Carlin, Dan Curry, I'm Mark Roebuck. Thank you guys
Thanks,
very
guys.
much.
You've been
Have
awesome.
a great night.
Have a good night. Stay cool.
It was real funny. A lot of the acts were really, really good.
It was hilarious. Way better than any show I've ever been to in my life.
I thought it was really funny what I caught tonight.
For a Monday night, it's really hard to get a decent audience for a show, and I thought this was a good audience. I had fun.
No, it's cool. You get out here, I don't care where you're from. Everyone thinks you're fucked up, but you get out here and you just die with all these other juggalos, man. And it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter who you are, what the fuck you're at, what you're about, where you're from, or anything. You get out here and just nothing but just love other juggalos. Whoop whoop. Fuck yeah.
I want to write. I want to do something before that to kind of get creative, get the juices flowing and stuff like that. So
Me and the rest of the Max regulars always meet every Monday at Theo's about 2-3 hours before the show, and we just go over bits together. We see like if any of us have any advice. We eat food. We mostly bullshit. It mostly turns into us just like sitting there talking about just like making jokes between each other, and usually those turn into bits. Most of the time they don't. But yeah, dude, this is like where we help each other get better rather than us just being like, well, let's write our own jokes. It helps. I don't know. It helps punch it up and stuff like that.
Welcome to Comedy Night at the Green Door. I'm your host and MC, Jason Carlin. Thank you guys for coming out. Put your hands together for Sexual Chocolate. Robert Jenkins, everybody. I talked to a comedian who's older than me. He's more experienced. He said I need to learn how to do stereotypical jokes so I can get the crowd back like when I lose them. And there's nothing wrong with it, writing easy jokes or whatever, but I figure I'll do easy jokes so long as I do something kind of complex at the same time. So black folks be like, chicken and what? Back when I was a kid, we didn't have timeout. We had knocked out you guys, that's right. Everybody gotta beat them kids. This is the part of my set where I want you guys to like me. So I tell you I support the troops and you give me a round of applause. That's right. America home. Sponsored by Creed. Hey, so Al Gore, a pacifist and a Buddhist, walk into a bar and we shoot him dead because it's Texas. Yeah! I don't know if you guys know this, but women do in fact be shopping. I don't know if y'all knew that. They totally be shopping, you guys. I saw some of them on Black Friday, or African American Friday if you want to be all fucking liberal. Now is the part of my set where I lack all originality, because I don't write any jokes. So I begin to imitate comedians that I watched as a kid. I said to my wife, I said, Camille, the kids want to go outside and play. I want to take a nap. Wake up, eat chocolate pudding. Then
I want to go to the strip club. See the bitches with the titties. Put my face on the titties and go, no. Can you help me with that? Camille said to me, boy, you better take them motherfucking kids outside. All of a sudden, my voice switched to Richard Pryor. And even though they didn't like each other for the purpose of their bit, they're best friends. Thanks a lot, y'all. Robert Jenkins.
I think I'm more of a joke writer. Like even things that I try to make into a long story, it always just, I pepper in a lot of silly things.
I started out long form. Most of my very first bits were really long.
But over time, it just suddenly changes. That punchline isn't as strong as this one, so that one drops out and the new one comes up.
I've realized that that smoking for me is a lot like a shitty off and on unhealthy relationship. Like with some shitty bitchy girl. Like I only do it when I'm drunk. All right, that went well. And I'm still pretty sure they killed my grandpa. Okay. That get dark? Memorial Day. Happy Memorial Day, guys.
And that's like the hardest part probably for me, is just finding that scale of like what's too ridiculous and what's not ridiculous enough to be funny. And that's, that can take, weeks, months.
My new joke that I'm really excited about, and I'm working this joke, which basically working a joke means like you wrote it down, you have a general idea of what it is, but you're gonna take it to a bunch of open mics and unpaid shows, and you're gonna tell it as many times as you can in as many different ways as you can. You're gonna record it, you're gonna listen to it. This worked, this didn't, this is how it should go, this should be changed. So I'm working this joke, and it's about funerals.
Actually, I looked up the average cost for a funeral the other day, $8,000. $8,000 to put you in the ground and carve your name on a rock. I know a guy that will do that for like $50 in a bag of weed. I don't even, it's insanity. Like how fucking old school is that? That's like caveman shit. Like, don't put me in the ground and like carve my name on a rock. Shoot me into space or something. Let me just float around. We should have all bodies, I think. That'd be great. And they'd all like collect together around the earth. The moon would come up, and then the ball of dead bodies would come up behind it, lit up by the sun on the other side. You're like, oh, Grandma's looking down on me. I could fucking see her.
And that's a joke I'm working on, and it goes through a lot of different like things throughout. I've tried it different ways. Like now I have this idea, like if you're gonna bury me in the ground and like put my name on a rock, like it's $8,000 to do that these days. Like I know a guy who'll do that for like $50 in a bag of weed.
Like you kind of start writing towards what's been working.
Most things that end up becoming jokes on stage are just something that I've said or thought about, like said in a conversation or just thought about while I'm driving or something. And I kind of have like the outline in my head, and maybe I'll write it out just to like get it, like, there's all these thoughts floating around, like get it in a A to B to C kind of way. But that's becoming less and less. Like my notebooks now are more like, it's just more notes and shit, as opposed to like, it used to be like dialogue, like this is word for word what you should say. And I still like once in a while, if I'm kind of like, I want to write but I don't have ideas, I will just pick bits that I haven't written out long form yet, and that helps me find little polishes, little details, little order things like that.
But I think one of the funniest guys in history that we don't give credit to is the guy that first called another guy an asshole. Because that's amazing. We take it for granted, but that's a lot. You got called an asshole for the first time in history? That guy's a genius. Can you imagine being the guy that first got called an asshole? He comes home from work, he's like, what's wrong, honey? You know Jeff from work? He called me an asshole. Oh, what? Called me an asshole. I don't understand, I don't know what that is. Like, your ass? The hole in it. He said I was one of those. As a person. Oh my God. It's terrible. Fuck that guy. I'm gonna go to work tomorrow, I'm gonna call that guy a dick. That's what I'm gonna do. Oh my God, baby, that's brilliant, I know. I'm gonna call him a dick. They have great sex that night. I'm gonna call Jeff a dick. You call him a dick, baby. That's great. Next day, he's brushing his teeth. Hey, Jeff, you're a dick. He's practicing his shit.
He gets to work, he's like, oh yeah, Jeff's a dick. I'm gonna call him a dick. Call me an asshole. He gets there, he's like, hey Jeff, you're a pussy. Ah, fuck. That guy's a genius. I think those two guys made all the best things.
I think comedy is music. My very basic definition of music is sounds that make you feel emotion. So I think that comedy is music, because all it is, it's very rhythmic. Like there's like the rule of three, you know, da da da, and you don't want jokes that are like da 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 da, because everyone's like really bored. We want a joke that's like da 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 da.
It's important to do things that we like on our birthdays. When on my birthday, for instance, this year, I threw a potluck at my house, and then I had everyone bring food, and then I made a plate, and then sat up in my room and didn't talk to anyone. It was perfect.
Like, I think there's a lot of rhythm in comedy, and I think there's a lot of emotion in comedy. I think that's what makes it an art form. I think comedy is music.
If a play or if music or anything else can be an art form, so can comedy. I got up this morning, I stepped on a scale, I weighed 258 pounds, and then proceeded to masturbate. Stepped back on the scale, and I weighed 259 pounds. So shame weighs 1 pound. That's what I'm trying to tell y'all.
I absolutely think comedy is an art. I actually graduated from Michigan State with a theater degree, and my final paper in my theater history class is comedy theater. And generally it's accepted that theater is art, but is comedy theater or is comedy just its own thing? Comedians think comedy is art. Actors think comedy is not.
I definitely think comedy is art. That would piss me off if someone said to me like, oh, comedy's not an art. First of all, we write the stuff we're performing, and that is an art.
That's something I've been like really on the fence about and like trying to figure out for a while, because it is an art form, because it's you directing, you're using it as a medium to get your point across and to like make a change and to do something. But it's a hard question. That's a really hard question. It is, yeah, it is an art form.
The thing that I think makes it such a beautiful art form is, you know, 4 comedians can get on the stage tonight, 4 different comedians, and they could do it in such different ways. There's as many different ways to do comedy as there are like styles of music to play, you know what I mean?
But it's just easy for other people that have never done it to go like, that's, you know, you're just making dick jokes, you're just doing this. Well, yeah, fuck you. You go write 10 minutes of material and make sure you're getting like, you know, 6, 7 laughs a minute. Like there's a lot more to it.
I've been doing it since I was 16. I'm 24 years old. It's taken over my life since then. That's who I am, man.
I chose this, and I don't want to sound like I'm upset about it or anything, but it is, there's parts in my life that I don't love because I'm a comedian.
There's nothing else, like it doesn't matter what you do in life. If it's something you care about, you're gonna suck at it at a point. And if you care about it enough, you will handle that. Everybody fails at everything. Like there's no limit to it. So like you just have to learn to handle failure.
I'm lucky and very fortunate to be getting some paid work. That only happens once you've gone to 100 open mics and you've done all that. So there's a lot of nights where, you know, you have to drive across the state and do 10 minutes for 5 people and come back and all that. And like when you're a waiter at a restaurant or this or that, like you're barely getting by all the time. That's like a choice you have to make where it's just like, yeah, I'm gonna struggle and I'm gonna do this.
You could just like totally get absorbed into comedy and not see anybody, not associate with anybody who's not a comedian. And I don't think that's good. I think that warps your perspective of everything.
I think the difference between comedians and regular people, I think, is comedian will go out there on a limb and talk about things that maybe people don't want to talk about in public or, you know, up on a stage or listen. I mean, are we going to sit here and pretend that people don't masturbate?